Beneath the streets of modern Jerusalem, beneath the shops, the noise, the pilgrims, the politics, there is another city. An older city. One that was already ancient when Jesus walked the Via Dolorosa above it. This is the city of David. And almost everything you think you know about Jerusalem starts here, 3,000 years underground. Promise. Most people who come to Jerusalem never find this place. They walk the old city. They visit the Temple Mount. They press their hands to the Western Wall. And then they leave, not knowing that directly beneath their feet, archaeologists are still uncovering the original Jerusalem. The city that King David captured 3,000 years ago. The city that predates the old city walls by centuries. It's not hidden because it's secret. It's hidden because it's buried. Join me, and I'll take you underground, into the water tunnels, through the excavations, and down to the pool where the blind man was told to go wash, and came back seeing. The site itself. The city of David sits on a narrow ridge just outside the southern wall of the old city. From the top of the site, you can see the Temple Mount above you, and you begin to understand the geography of ancient Jerusalem for the first time. David didn't build his city on a wide, flat platform. He built it on a ridge, steep on both sides, defensible, strategic. And at the bottom of that ridge? A water source. The Gihon Spring. In the ancient world, a city without water was not a city. It was a target. The Gihon Spring is why Jerusalem exists at all. Gihon Spring Chamber, stone walls, water still present in some areas. The spring has been flowing for thousands of years. It powered the city. It fed the pools. It carved the tunnels. And it's still here. When I stood next to it, I kept thinking, David drank from this water. Solomon drank from this water. The people who built what we now call civilization drew from this spring. That kind of continuity is hard to hold in your mind. HEZEKIAH'S tunnel. And then you go underground. HEZEKIAH'S tunnel was carved in the 8th century BC, roughly 700 years before the birth of Jesus. King Hezekiah ordered it to be built when the Assyrian army of Sennacherib was approaching Jerusalem. The idea was simple. Desperate, but simple. The Gihon Spring was outside the city walls, vulnerable to an enemy siege. Hezekiah needed to bring the water inside. So his workers carved a tunnel through solid rock. 533 meters long. Winding through the bedrock of the city. Two teams started from opposite ends, and somehow, with no modern surveying equipment, no GPS, no engineering software, they met in the middle. I walked through the tunnel. The water comes up to your shins in places. The ceiling drops low enough that you have to duck. The walls press in on both sides, close enough to touch with both hands simultaneously. And it is completely, perfectly dark beyond your torch. Somewhere in the middle of that tunnel, halfway through 2,700-year-old rock, water cold around my ankles, I stopped. And I thought about the workers who carved this. No light except fire. No way of knowing if they were going the right direction. Just faith that if they kept going, they would come through. I think about that a lot. The Pool of Siloam. The tunnel ends here. At the Pool of Siloam. And this is where I need to stop and tell you something. Because if you have ever read the Gospel of John, you know this pool. John chapter 9. Jesus encounters a man who has been blind from birth. He makes mud. He places it on the man's eyes. And then he says, "Go wash in the Pool of Siloam." The man went. He washed. And he came back seeing. For centuries, scholars debated whether the Pool of Siloam was a real place or a literary device. In 2004, during routine construction work on a sewage pipe, archaeologists broke through a layer of soil and found it. The actual pool. The stone steps. The same steps that pilgrims walked down 2,000 years ago to wash. I walked down those steps. And I stood where a blind man once stood, before his life changed. I don't know how to explain what that feels like. I'm not sure I should try. Some places you have to stand in yourself. What the excavations are still revealing. Here's what most people don't realize about the city of David. The excavation is not finished. They are still digging. Right now. Actively. In recent years, archaeologists have uncovered a 2,000-year-old road, the Pilgrimage Road, that ran from the Pool of Siloam directly up to Temple Mount. This is the road that Jewish pilgrims walked during the time of Jesus. The road he almost certainly walked. It was buried under 20 feet of rubble. And it is now being slowly, carefully, brought back to light. Walking along the pilgrimage road, I walked part of it. Original stones. Still flat. Still fitted together by hands that have been dust for 2,000 years. Every step felt like a conversation across time. And what strikes me, every single time I come to a place like this, is that the Bible isn't describing an imaginary world. It's describing this one. These stones. This water. This ridge. The story happened here. Reflection and close. Looking up from the city of David toward the Temple Mount. Sky above. Ancient stone below. The city of David taught me something I didn't come here to learn. I came for the archaeology. For history. For the tunnel and the pool and the road. What I found was perspective. We build our lives on top of things we can't see. Foundations laid by people we'll never meet. Water carved through rock by hand that believed the work was worth the darkness. Jerusalem is 3,000 years of that. Layer upon layer. Each generation building on the ruins and the faithfulness of the one before. And somewhere beneath all of it, the spring is still flowing. If you've been to the city of David, or if this is the first time you've heard of it, tell me what surprised you most. I read every comment. Drop an emoji in the pinned comments if you made it to the end. And if you're walking this journey with me for the first time, subscribe below. There are more buried things here worth finding. Let's go find them together.